But then again, so this is an procedural. It is adaptive, and of course, if you write for film, this is all in sync. So you see, let's say the movie is 1 to 2 hours, then the music will be synced to that. You can really make sure that everybody that's goes through the roller coaster, they're gonna hear the same thing, they're gonna see the same thing because you dedicate that. But with games, it's a little bit different, and especially if it's more procedural, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you can't really time the music right. How do you approach this as a composer?
Yeah, lots of headaches.
I can imagine.
And I remember myself saying a couple of months ago, I'm never ever going to work on a procedural project again. So yesterday I said yes to to music for a new procedural project. But the thing is, this is how we approach it. So in game, you've got the villages. Those are safe. And to me, those were safe havens as well, because I could just, put regular music in there. I sort of make a playlist. When you come into a village, a certain tune starts playing, and after a while, a different one, and then a different one. But that's fine. In the field, you don't know what's going to happen, just as you said. So the player can, just wander around, or he can be, victorious, solve a puzzle, or beat an enemy, or, almost die, or whatever. So what we did is, then I wrote like a 4 or 5 minute basic track, and that laid down the atmosphere. The kind of atmosphere I was talking about earlier, like the sort of a dreamy fantasy-like kind of music, sort of Lord of the Rings-y. And it was sort of a balancing act, because that basic track should be strong enough on its own without any additions. The player is, for instance, in danger, we add an additional layer. And that could be, for instance, percussion, but not always. I try to do that as much musically as possible. So adding, for instance, really a cello staccato underneath, and something that looked like an innocent melody is suddenly this like very tense music, basic melody, this sort of innocent track. And only when the player is in danger, for instance, we fade in an additional layer, and that additional layer is literally an additional layer of music. And for instance, when the player is in danger, we fade in staccato cellos, and then this innocent sounding atmospheric track suddenly is this really tense music. And we can also do the other way around. So I wrote on top of the basic layer some very happy solo violin, for instance, and you can fade that in the moment that the player is doing very well. But it was really difficult getting that good enough to actually work, because when you add something, for instance, when you add tension to a track, and that track is 4 minutes, you have to add 4 minutes of suspense or tension, because you never know when that layer is going to be faded in and faded out. But at the beginning, we were like, yeah, but when the player is doing not very well for those 4 minutes, you get 4 minutes of tension music, and that was really annoying. That was, musically, you cannot solve that. So we had to find out, okay, we can use this tension for 10 or 20 seconds maximum, and then we have to fade it out. And then we have to wait for at least an additional 20 or 30 seconds to fade it back in. So it was a lot of a back and forth between me and the programmers before, and the game designers before it worked well enough for us, like, okay, this is how it should work. But it's difficult, yeah.
Hey there, I appreciate you watching the video. If you like this one, check out this video or that video. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to click on top of my head on the logo and subscribe to the channel.